fans. Mark here from the Packer Fan Network. And by now, I'm sure most of you already know how the Packers draft went. Ted Thompson traded us out of the first round and then picked up 4 defensive players in a row, and then the rest were all offensive players. Personally, I think he did a pretty good job in the draft this year, and I'm excited to see what these young players can do. And here to discuss this with me is my friend and admitted Bears fan, Joe Southward. Joe, thanks for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It's great to be here finally.
Right on. So how did you feel about Ted Thompson's trade in the first round there?
I think it was a wise decision. There was talent in the first round, but there's a lot of questions. They had more questions than answers, so I think it was a really good decision to move out of the first round and get to the second round where he knows that there would be a plethora of like safeties and cornerbacks available, more safe picks.
Yeah, and I mean, seeing as how obviously secondary on the defense was the Packers' main need coming into the draft, it's almost as if he ended up getting the same guy that he would have picked up along with another pick in the fourth round.
Absolutely. They definitely filled a need while getting the best player available. And for example, Kevin King, the first pick, he's a prototype, 6'3", 200 pounds. He's like a Richard Sherman type player, but more physical.
Yeah.
Stronger guy.
He's the type of kid I expect to see within 2 to 3 years turning into a shutdown corner and shut down one side of the field there.
Absolutely, man. His style of play fits the 3-4 scheme. You definitely need those big physical cornerbacks that can jam up the receivers and give the linebackers time to put pressure on the quarterback, and he can do that. He definitely has the tools to be that type of guy.
Yeah, definitely the size and the speed, and then with later in the second round picking up Josh Jones, another one in the secondary. This one's a safety, but another big fast guy. What did you think of that pickup?
Honestly, I saw him in the combine. I saw his performance, and I was like, this guy is phenomenal. Like, this guy has the speed, he has the size, 6'1", 220. But what I liked about some of the footage I saw him in is that in man coverage he was covering tight ends, and he was staying with them right on their hip down the whole field. So you won't have to worry about tight ends running wild in man coverage. So he's a guy who's versatile in those.
Yeah, and the tight end running down the field has been a big need for the Packers. You know what I'm saying? Just the middle of the field has just seemed so open over the last couple of years that I would imagine a team could just throw it across the middle against the Packers and move down the field every time.
Right.
So we're not just going to talk about the Packers today. I know as a Bears fan, I've been wanting to hear from Bears fans about how did you guys feel when you watched your team trade up in the second round, or in the first round, I'm sorry.
Honestly, I was intrigued at first because I figured it would be a defensive player. I figured we'd be filling a need because it's definitely a need. But when they drafted Trubisky, I was like, all right, okay. I didn't have a problem with that pick. I just had a problem with them giving up so much to move up one spot. That was my only problem.
Yeah.
We definitely needed a quarterback. I know that everyone says, well, they already signed a guy, but they, it's for, Mike Glennon was signed for $45 million, but only 19 of it's guaranteed, so there's not much of a financial commitment.
Right.
And he was only signed to be a short-term starter. So they are doing what they said they were going to do. It's just, we were definitely closer to mending that defense than offense. So that's why a lot of people are disappointed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if Bears fans are lucky this year, it could turn into one of those Russell Wilson situations where they just picked up Matt Flynn. They waited until the third round to pick up Russell Wilson. But then there was a really good quarterback challenge going on, which forced one of the two to step up and say, I'm ready to be a pro starter today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with the lack of success in the recent years, I think they're just trying to foster of culture, just competition. If there's competition, if you're all constantly fighting for your position, then you're going to fight every game to make sure that you're the guy that should be starting. So I think competition is good, and this is one way to get it started. So.
Well, and especially after kind of being stuck in a situation with Jay Cutler for so many years, I can imagine right now just thinking, you know what, let's just load up on quarterbacks and find somebody that's going to be our next guy now that he's out of the way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The Jay fatigue was definitely real with every Bears fan. Like you hear so much about a guy and he's also not producing and he's getting paid all this money, and you just get tired of hearing about it. Even if this Glennon guy that they just signed isn't, the prototypical guy. He's something different. We didn't have anything better before that, so I'm open to something new. I just hope that he didn't give up too much.
Yeah.
So
was there anybody else that the Bears picked up that you're excited to see come into the team now?
I'm kind of. He's unheard of, but Adam Sheehan, I think that's his last name. I think I pronounced it wrong. Not sure. Sheehan, but he's a tight end from Ashland College. I saw some footage of him, and he's just humongous. He's just 6'7", 277. There's been questions about like level of competition. How well would he perform? But he definitely has potential to also be converted to a tackle, which is also a position that needs to be filled on the line. So
yeah,
I don't know, man. He's intriguing to me. I'm not saying he can be the greatest player ever, but I'm just saying, with his size and his ability, something could happen there. So I don't know.
Someone exciting to watch this year.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Right on. So now, I'm sure everybody was expecting the Vikings to pick up a running back after eliminating Adrian Peterson from their roster this year. How do you feel they did in that category?
Well, they picked up Dalvin Cook, Florida State. I've seen him in a few games. He's played great in spite of not having not that good run blocking, but he was still able to run for over 1,000 yards, and he was still able to perform when he had to. So he has a potential to break a big game. Big game. He's like a home run waiting to happen. He's just got an electric speed, and he kind of reminds me of Chris Johnson, but he's more of an in between the tackles type of runner.
Yeah.
He's this. I say the only kind of down spot in the season is that he could have dominated as a receiver out of the backfield, but he wasn't able to make as many plays. So
yeah. Well, obviously, everybody's used to the Vikings really being a run-heavy team and looking for that home run hitter.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think they made a good pick with the Dalvin Cook as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as the Lions go, they didn't seem to have that many picks this year.
No, not really. But one that stood out was their first pick, Gerard Davis. He's
the linebacker from Florida.
Yes, yeah. He's a little undersized.
Yeah.
He's around 220, 225. So undersized for a middle linebacker. For that position, you're taking on blockers, offensive linemen. So But he's willing to take on those blockers and lay the hit on them just so his teammates could, make a play. So he's a ready and willing defender. But I think at times he has the ability to play coverage, but he gets lost. He loses his man in coverage, and these are all things that could be coached up. But,
Right.
But those are just a few of the
Well, and two, sometimes a weak spot for a rookie coming into the league turns into his strong spot because that's the spot that he most focuses on.
Oh yeah.
So give him maybe a year or two, and he might be the best coverage linebacker out there.
Right, quite possibly, man. If you put in enough time and effort, it could definitely happen.
Yeah. Now, being the Packer Fan Network, I do want to circle it right back to the Packers here. I can't end talking about some different team. I know there's a lot of excitement about the fourth round that the Packers had, picking up Wisconsin Badger Vince Beagle early in the fourth round with the other pick that they traded, which I thought was really cool because I do feel that if the Packers hadn't traded out of the first round, they would have still ended up getting Kevin King with their first pick. So now I feel like they got Kevin King and Vince Beagle for just making a smart trade.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they definitely stockpiled on the back end of the draft, which is kind of seems like a common thing. They're every team trying to find that diamond in the rough, and I think the Packers definitely found a few this year.
Yeah, and I know a lot of Badger fans are also going to be excited about that. And another one that I've been hearing excitement about is Jamal Williams, the running back that they picked up from UTEP in the fourth round.
Yeah, man. I really like this guy. I think I call him a giant muscle because he's a power running back, but he can definitely he does well in space. He creates space. He can move around defenders well. He's a great in between the tackles runner. He's also a guy that could. He's not terrible as a receiver out of the backfield, but he could use some work. But I mean, this guy could be a third down running back. He could be a guy on all downs. He can be, and he's great in picking up the blitz.
Yeah, and maybe a good combination of him and Ty Montgomery could create some confusing situations for some defenses that have to come up against the Packers this year.
Yeah, man, have him running up the gut and have Montgomery on a wheel route or something. Just keep defense off balance. It'd be exciting to see, man.
Yeah, right on. Well, what do you guys think out there? Are you happy with what the Packers did? Do you think any other teams in the NFC North may have done better or worse? Go ahead and leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button and share it with all your friends. Subscribe if you want to see more. Joe, thanks again for being here, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man. It was an honor and a pleasure.
Right on. And for the Packer Fan Network, I am Mark Schneider.